great directors. Could you describe the first time you met Spike Lee and describe your first interaction with him and what it actually led to?
This is an issue of great debate between Spike and I. This is what
I know when to get the real truth from you.
What happened was I was leaving Los Angeles. I decided to leave. I was going to college. I didn't want to be in LA anymore. I was going to move back to Brooklyn. It was my last week in LA. My friend said, let's go out to a club, and it was called Funky Reggae. And when we stepped into the club, nobody was dancing on the dance floor. They were all watching the stage, and Spike Lee was holding a buck contest to see which black woman in the club had the biggest ass. And I just thought it was so insulting and ludicrous, so I jumped on the stage and bent over and said, what about a Rican ass? And just tried to make a mockery of the whole thing. And a bouncer came over, and I got scared, so I jumped on a speaker. And I just kept clowning the whole situation, and they brought me down off the speaker, and then I started crying. I'm sorry, and they brought me over to this little skinny man, and my girlfriend kept tapping me. Oh my god! I said, what? So he goes like, that's Spike Lee, and I said, who's Spike Lee? And he goes, hi, I'm Spike. I said, mm-hmm. And I was about to apologize to him because they told me it was his night, and he stuck out his hand. He goes, tonight is fate. And I said, oh, you wish. And he laughed so hard. And he turned to his producer and he goes, give her our card. And I was like, you know, I was like, I'm a girl from New York. Like, this was just such a weird exchange. And I was like, I didn't understand what was going on. And he shook my hand again. He goes, tonight is fate. You're going to remember this night. And I went, oh. And I said, okay, whatever. And I went, and he goes, call us tomorrow. I have a project in mind. And I didn't understand what that meant either. You know, I was a biochem major. I was like, what do you mean that you have a project in mind? I didn't understand that terminology. And so we walked away, and I went to throw the card in the garbage. And my girlfriend dove onto the floor and grabbed the card, and she called him the next day. And he said, no, I want to talk to the girl with the accent. And it's so tiresome, people talking about your accent. It's so stupid. It really is ignorant. I'm sorry. And so I was like, oh, I remember saying, excuse my language. And then she goes, no, and I could hear him over the phone. He goes, the girl with the Puerto Rican accent. And when he said Puerto Rican, because in L.A., no one knew what the hell I was. Some people asked me, was I black? Was I white? Was I black and white? Was I Filipino? I swear to God. Was I Hawaiian? No one picked Puerto Rican. And when he said Puerto Rican, I went, and I grabbed the phone. I went, hello? And he goes, hey! And he goes, I want you to audition for my movie. And I said, I'm not an actress. He goes, oh, yes, you are. And I go, no. He goes, yes, you are. The way you got up on that speaker, oh, yeah. And I went, no. And he goes, we're going to be filming in Brooklyn. I go, I'm from Brooklyn. He goes, oh, my God. He goes, we're going to be filming in Bed-Stuy. I went, I'm moving to my sister's house in Bed-Stuy. And it was weird. And he was like, this is very, very, very much fate. This is fate. And we'll see.
Brilliant. Why do you think that Do the Right Thing was such a brilliant film on multiple levels?
When I initially read Do the Right Thing, I understood how big of a political impact it was going to have, and that it was a satire, that it was an exaggeration of an ugly truth in America. There were other actors on the set, that said, "Oh, this is not," because I said, "Oh, it's just an exaggeration of the truth." And they were like, no, it's not. And I go, this is how it is. I go, nah, y'all don't live in Brooklyn. This is not like how it is every single day in Brooklyn. Maybe in Howard Beach, but, not in Brooklyn. Not in where I live in Brooklyn. And I kept telling everyone, this is going to be big. This is going to be big. And Martin Lawrence believed that. Sam Jackson believed it. Danny Aiello believed it. and John Turturro believed it. Everyone else did it. It was really weird. They thought it was going to be a tiny, small, independent film that might get some box office, might get distribution, and I kept saying, no, this is going to be huge. It's gonna, and I knew it right away. And the role was originally written for an African-American girl, and Spike changed it to a Puerto Rican girl. And I was like, that's even smarter. I was like, wow. You know, because it wasn't just about blacks against whites. You know, it was blacks against whites, blacks against Koreans, blacks against Puerto Ricans. It was just the issue of African Americans in America and all that, you know, all it produces, all the racism that it produces and how it affects not just white people or black people, but how it affects everyone. So I thought it was really smart on that level.